What if I told you that you could be the smartest person in the room with the best ideas and the sharpest insights, but still lose the room entirely because of the way you speak? Okay, listen. This happens to high achievers all the time. Founders, CEOs, leaders, and everyday professionals who are tired of not getting heard. The content is solid, but the delivery quietly sabotages everything. Today, I am breaking down 7 speaking traps that hold intelligent people back. Once you know them, you will start noticing them everywhere in meetings, pitches, conversations, and fixing even one will make people lean in and treat you like the authority that you actually are. I've studied about this topic while researching for my book on how CEOs' mind work in the Fortune 500 companies. This is how you get attention like the CEO. Let's go. Trap number 1, excessive hedging. People literally ignore everything that you say before the word but. Did you know that? So if you start with, I could be totally off here, but, and then drop a perfectly good point, neuroscience and communication research shows that your audience tunes out. It's called linguistic hedging. And studies on powerless speech styles like hedges, hesitation, and qualifiers prove it that it tanks your perceived competence and authority, especially in the high stake business environment. One powerful finding from the research on speakers' credibility shows that a speaker who presents an argument confidently are rated as far more credible even when the arguments are identical to the hesitant version. There's even a scary follow-up study where the confident but wrong speakers were rated more credible than the hesitant but right speakers. People don't deeply analyze your logic. They use your certainty as a shortcut. Why do smart people hedge? Because we see the complexities. Reality is probabilistic and we don't want to sound arrogant. But here's the question. Do you want to be right or do you want to win the room? Nuance matters. Strategic hedging can show intellectual honesty, but most of it is insecurity hedging. Here's the difference. I think we should move forward with point A. However, we have to take into account a 30% failure rate. That could be an issue. Versus, I want to move forward with point A, but there is always a chance it won't work. And I can't guarantee it 100%. Which one sounds more serious? The first one. Numbers, clarity, and posture. So what's the fix here? You stop softening. Instead of, I might be wrong, but I think we should cut this feature. Say, based on the data that we have, cutting this feature is the right move. Even better, based on the data, we believe that it is 70% probable that this is the right move. Here's exactly why. Give specifics. Same thought, but totally different impact. Steve Jobs was the master of this. One Twitter length headline for the whole talk. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. Everything else proved that one line. No hedging. Right. Your ideas will land harder. Trap number 2, over explaining. Smart people hate being misunderstood. So they explain, clarify, give examples, and restate the examples. And then summarize the whole summary. Yikes! What does this actually signal? That your audience is slow or your idea can't stand on its own. Neither it helps your credibility. Cognitive psychology calls this out as processing fluency. When something is easy to understand, people judge it as more truthful and more intelligent. Over explaining kills the fluency. It makes even a good ideas feel heavy and complicated. Research backs it up. A famous Princeton study by Alter and Oppenheimer found that the companies with easy to pronounce name outperform those with hard to pronounce name after the IPO. Simple processing is equal to higher perceived value. Apple ads prove it. Simple background, one product, clear headline. Your brain relaxes and thinks, this is premium. So, how do you fix it? Deliver the core idea concisely. Pause. Let the silence do its work. If they want depth, they will ask. Authority trusts the listener. Here's the example. Example number one. A vertically integrated infrastructure leverages synergistic distribution pathway to optimize the cross-sector capital allocation. Here's the another example. We buy boring businesses that make money. Which one sounds smarter? Which one feels more trustworthy? Which one gets remembered more? The simple one, every time. Smart people take complex things and make them simple. Keep it stupid simple. Shorter sentences, concrete nouns, no jargons, speaker slowly speaking, and cut all the filler words. This idea quietly runs in the world. Trap number three is talking too fast when it matters the most. Ever notice those pitches rising, words speeding up, breath is shortening in that big movement? That's your sympathetic nervous system firing. Studies on the vocal perception shows that listener unconsciously read fast speaker as uncertain. So what do? The slower, deliberate pace is associated with the higher status and great credibility. There is even research on the power of speaking slower, showing it boosts the perceived competence in the key movement. So what do? The fix is remember the three S's: shorter, slower, stronger. When you reach your most important sentence, slow down by about 20% and then micro pause. Breathe before the key line. Here's the example. Instead of rushing, so what I'm saying is that we should pivot the whole strategy because the data is clearly showing diminishing returns. Right. I think we should pivot. The data is showing diminishing returns. Make everything fast until the plane needs to land and then land it cleanly. Listen to the Apple's iconic Think Different ad. Slow, strategic, and powerful. Trap number four is leading with specs instead of stories. People don't remember feature list. They remember the stories and the change it creates. Great communicator uses simple arc, the status quo to problem, problem to bold promises, and then proof and future. Steve Jobs stripped everything down. Few words on the slide, big visuals, almost no bullets. He would say one concrete phrase like, it just works, or simply gorgeous. The audience had the bandwidth to feel it. In his Stanford speech, he connected the dots with a story about calligraphy, not specs. So, how do you fix that? Ruthless simplicity. Show, don't tell. Lead with the human change that your idea creates. Stories beat specs every single time. Trap number five, being a show off or overcomplicating to prove that you are smart. It's tempting to drop obscure framework or add theoretical layers. But research on the illusion of explanatory depth shows that you are more complicated and less intelligent. It seems like that. The smartest communicator reduces the complexities. Einstein supposedly said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Secure, smart people make everyone feel smart. And how do you fix that? Go big and show what you know, then default to clarity. Flex, but keep it simple. Clarity beats the cleverness every time. Think of the showmen who win. They demonstrate the value without making it complicated. Trap number six is skipping the obsessive rehearsal. Most people think that great speakers are born that way. They are not. Psychologist Anda Erickson, decade of research on the world-class performers, violinists, athletes, surgeons, show that deliberate practice explains the gap between the elite and the average. By age 20, top violinists had over 10,000 hours of focus practice. Later study refined showed that deliberate practice accounts for roughly 20 to 25% of the performance differences. The speaker who don't rehearse rambles or panics or sounds unsure, those are the ones who talk the loud, cut weak examples and practice the pauses after every key line, and that will make you effortless. So what do? Rehearse more so that you can feel reasonable. Practice it, internalize it to your spine so that you can improvise it naturally. Steve Jobs rehearsed the keynotes for hours, fonts, demos, everything. That natural delivery was engineered. You can do the same. Trap number 7. Okay, 7 is constant self-deprecation. You joke about your shortcomings, downplay the wins, undercut the compliment. It feels humble, but chronic self-deprecation lowers your perceived competence, especially with the people who do not know you yet. Research on the impression management and the job interview is clear. Self-promotion increases the rating of the competence, intelligence, and hireability. Modesty boosts the likability slightly, but it reduces the perceived capability and the referral chances. The newer study even shows that dual promotion, praising others while owning your own win, give you both warmth and competency. So how do you fix that? Accept the praise. When someone says you great presentation, just say thank you. That's it. You don't shrink down the likability. Confidence with warmth is the magnetic energy. Insecurity disguises as humor is transparent. Here's the pattern behind all 7 traps. Fear of social rejection, of being wrong, of not being liked. Smart people feel this more because we see the complexity, but the people who win the room aren't always the one who know the most. They are the one who manages the perception best. Delivery matters as much as the content. Before any important conversation, run this quick checklist. First, am I hedging unnecessarily? Second, am I over explaining things? Third, am I rushing my key points? Fourth, am I complicating instead of clarifying? Fifth, am I landing the statements confidently? And sixth, am I comfortable with silence? Pick one thing to improve per week. Awareness alone upgrades you by 15 to 30%. Rehearse with intent. Fix that delivery. And suddenly the room treats you like you are the smartest person there. Because you sound like it. If you want to outperform your peers in anything that involves words, there is an unfair advantage waiting. Rehearse more than they do. With purpose. Do that obsessively and people will start calling you a natural. That's it for today. Next time you are in the meeting, listen to these traps. You will hear them everywhere. Spot them, fix them, and watch how fast people start paying attention to you. If you found this valuable, please drop in a comment of which trap you are fixing first. I'll see you in the next one.